Okay, guys, we're moving right along. So now we are actually getting into the actual gig creation and optimization. So, from this page here, which is our account page, just go into selling and then gigs. And I do not have very many gigs active right now. Like I said, I've been a little off of Fiverr for a while, but that's okay. So let me check this real quick. Yep, here we go. So I had already began this gig creation the other day, and we will finish it together. Just come in here, click edit. So I already have my title. Here's where you're going to pick your categories and then your subcategories. And if you guys are really stuck, like you're just getting started and you're like, I've been looking around, I still don't really know, or you're stuck on keywords, you can always come into this section here where the gig creation, and you can play around with this and look like, okay, well, here's the biggest categories, right? And I'm going into digital marketing, and then pick the best subcategory that fits this gig. So for this one, we're doing document sharing sites, so that's going to be content marketing. And then it's a service type. This is new. They actually used to just have the main category and the subcategory, but now they're actually doing service types too, which is really helpful for people that are trying to find those services. And this takes a little bit of time. Sometimes it lags. I'm not really sure why. Everything else goes really quickly. Okay, so here, content promotion is what it's going to be for me. And here, don't get too caught up in this. If this works for you, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And what I mean by that is, like in this gig for myself, none of these apply to me. So, it's saying Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Most of these are just, the top social media sites, and then it's a personal blog or email. Well, I'm not engaging on any of those platforms. And you can suggest other, but it's just one. And I'm doing 50 different document sharing sites. So this just isn't, it doesn't apply to me. It's just not relevant. So I just skip over it. I know it says gig metadata, and I know a lot of people might go, oh, but SEO, and don't worry about it. If it doesn't apply, it just doesn't apply, and it's not going to be that big of a deal because this is a newer feature and it's not going to make or break, I promise. Then we come down here into search tags, and this is the area I was talking about before where I said, if you got really stuck, come to this section here and it will help you out with some keywords. So, file, it did again, file sharing. There we go. Like, see how it's giving you some different things here, and you can enter up to 5 different terms. So yeah, I mean, this is a really helpful. In fact, when I first started making gigs on Fiverr, I just came in here and played around with this for a little bit just to see what some of the keywords were. Back before they had their auto search the way it is now, and everything was a little bit more basic back then. So this really helped me out a lot. You can save and continue. We're going to go to the next section. It won't take you to the next section. So you got to go. Oh, I was wrong. Sorry, guys. So it does automatically take you to the next section, scope and pricing. This is where you're going to set up your packages. And sometimes this isn't enabled. I'm not going to disable it because I'll lose my info, but you don't have to offer packages if you don't want to. But a lot of people are doing that nowadays because they find that it makes them more money. So go ahead and set all of the information that you have here. You can name your packages whatever you want. Most people just stick to the basic, standard, or premium names because it makes it simple, since Fiverr has already started people on that terminology. So I recommend just sticking with that in naming your own packages. Don't get too fancy. It'll just confuse people. So you can set your gig delivery times here. You can go all the way to 29 days. So whatever works for you. You know, you have almost a whole month to be able to deliver something. Personally, I have never delivered anything that's more than 10 days. I just find that people will forget about it, and you won't tend to get as many reviews because people are just almost disassociated from when they ordered to when you delivered, and there's so much that happens in between there that they kind of forget. So I do recommend delivering as quickly as possible. It's going to help you get more money, more sales, but sometimes it's just not always possible. And when you're ordering, when you get to like a level 1 or level 2 and you start ordering or being able to offer those gig extras, having like a 3 or 4 delivery turnaround period is quite all right, because it allows you to be able to offer an extra fast delivery that people will pay extra for. So, you know, when you're first starting out, try to deliver as quickly as you can. But as you go on and you get more reviews and more sales and you have more of a reputation on Fiverr, then you can go ahead and up your delivery time a little bit, so that if you want to get paid extra for that extra fast delivery, you can. These are newer things here. Audience size. It's kind of like if you were, let's say, sending out a newsletter blast to your email list, then you could give them some kind of idea of what the audience size might be. Or maybe you're posting a guest post on your blog or another blog, and they have a certain amount of traffic every month or a certain amount of members, then you can give them ideas of audience size. So it's kind of, that's a very niche related thing. You can see here that I'm not even using it for this gig. It just doesn't apply. So anything that doesn't apply, you don't need to even select an option. Like guest posts. I'm not doing guest posts, so that doesn't apply. Keyword research doesn't apply in this particular gig. Neither does links or bookmarks. And then, of course, you get to set your prices. And the price, Fiverr has really extended this, so you guys, you're going to love it. You guys can, now I know that I am a top seller, so I do get, like, this is as much as you guys can charge. I think for when you're just starting out, you are limited to, I think maybe, I'm not even sure what the limits are now, but you are limited, and then you get to charge more as you increase your seller rankings. So, I mean, if I wanted to, I could start my packages out at almost $1,000. But how many sales am I going to get? Probably not very many, because we're on Fiverr. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'm starting mine out at $10 for this service. And then, of course, you get to add your gig extras besides the packages, which is so cool. And this is why you want to work hard to become a top seller, because you get all of these features and you get quite a lot of them. In fact, you know, if you wanted, you could add, I think, let me see here. I think you can add 6 gig extras. Yep, that's correct. So that's a lot, right? That's a lot of opportunities to be able to add on a lot of money. Like if they want an extra guest post, boom, $40 more, $30 more, 50, right? So this here is where all the magic happens, is through your gig extras and through your packages. So with that being said, let's move on. And I will show you guys the description area. And while this is loading, I just want to quickly share with you like why I put this in a Word document first and then put it into Fiverr. It just makes it a lot easier to edit, especially when you're adding things like bullet points. Now, sometimes the formatting can get a little tricky and it won't copy over the bullet points or some of that stuff like that. But it does make it a lot easier as far as your capitalizations and even font size sometimes can transition over. It just makes it a lot easier to see everything and edit it here in Word first and then go into the Fiverr system. So as you can see here, we're in the description. Everything looks pretty similar to the way I had it in the Word doc. I added little stars here instead of bullet points just to capture attention more, which is something cool that Fiverr allows you to do. You can add those little symbols in there. And it really does help. Like any way that you can break up this monotony and capture attention, like use those things to your advantage. And I used almost all of the characters. Not quite. I could put more info in here if I wanted to, but I feel like I covered everything that I needed to. And for this gig, I didn't bother with the FAQ. I do recommend it if you are just now getting started and you're setting up everything for the first time. Go ahead and, like I said, success hack others by just copying and pasting what their questions were, and then you can even copy and paste their answers. I usually don't even bother with differentiating that. It doesn't seem that Fiverr seems to mind at all. So that's just a way to add more value to your gig in case people do have questions, and it'll cut down on your messages some. But again, you still have to reply back to messages. Don't just blow them off. That is part of offering your Fiverr services. So we will move on. And this requirement section is what people see after they order. So thank you for ordering. You can put anything you want here. You only have 450 characters, so you can't put a ton of stuff. But I do like to thank them for ordering, and then please provide whatever it is. And then I like to number them. I've actually played around with this since I first started on Fiverr. I didn't used to number things. I would just kind of like put I would do a little dash mark and then whatever the thing was. But I found that people would actually skip over some things. So the numbers seem to help a lot. Just and a lot of other Fiverr sellers do that too. So the numbers, I don't know, it just makes people go, here's the checklist of things that I need, and it works a lot better. So I recommend numbering the items. And if there's anything that is optional, like let's say that let's put number 5, and I'll do it like this. I'll do 5, and then optional, and then AdWords login. Whatever it may be. But that's just a way to ask for more information. And if you do run out of space here, I'm pretty sure that it'll let you add one more requirement. But for the most part, you want to keep it within 450 characters. That's best. So we're going to save. And this gallery part coming up right here is where you can add in, of course, your the first photo that you add is going to be your gig cover photo. So you want to spend some time on this. This is something that I made, and this isn't even as great as it could be or should be, but I had to do this quickly. So I just wanted something that was very bright and attention getting, and then I go ahead and I insert another photo of like what the delivery will look like. So you can add up to 3 photos here, and I do recommend that you add as many as possible. People really like to see what it is that you are going to be delivering and what they're going to be getting, and that's going to help you make more sales. So especially if you are doing something like graphic design, logo design, anything that is visual, add as many pictures here as you can. And I think if you are in the graphic design category, you're allowed to add way more photos. I'm pretty sure they have like 6, maybe even 10. I'm not even sure how many, but I know it's a lot more than 3. So I just wanted to make mention of that. Here is something I'm going to be going over in the next video. This is your gig video. And a lot of sellers don't do this, but they are missing out on a lot of sales. I've always, except for maybe my very first gig. I don't think my first gig had a video, but then I started doing videos and all of my gigs took off and I got a lot more sales. So I recommend doing this. They're not displayed the same way that they used to be. Fiverr really used to make the video prominent. Now they just make this cover photo prominent, but I still recommend it, and it's going to boost your sales as well. And we'll talk about that in the next videos coming up. And then here you can insert a PDF if that relates to your gig at all. So that covers building your gig. Again, before we move on to publishing, we are going to cover how to create a gig video in the next step. So stick with me through that. I hope I made this quick, simple, and easy for you guys. It really isn't too hard at all. The one thing I do want to mention though is that while you can save this, like you guys saw, you can save this as a draft and come back to it later. You do need, I recommend publishing your video or creating your video and uploading it before you publish. It just seems to help with your rankings in Fiverr. I'm not really sure why that is. Like, instead of creating the gig without a video and then uploading the video later, if you upload the video right away when you create your gig, it does seem to boost your rankings more. I've done both, and for whatever reason, the ones that I uploaded the video right away always took off and did better. So that's just a tip that I wanted to give you guys. And stick with me in the next video, and I will show you guys how to make your quick 1-minute Fiverr videos for your gigs.